afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Artist Spotlight Show. Again, our show is being brought to you by Table and Mike Productions, Eagle Street Corporation up in Asheville. Special thank you to Mickey and Creative Edge for supplying all these amazing authors on our show. In just a few moments here, we're going to meet another one. Her name is J.M. Shaw, and man, does she got a story to share. Can't wait to get into that interview with her. Also, Music Dreams USA Radio has just now completed season 1 on the Artist Spotlight Show. And season 2 is just around the corner. And if you go to all of our social media outlets, you'll be able to see the reel of season number 1. It's about 34 seconds long and it gives you like a quick snapshot of all the interviews we've done. And we are now looking for sponsorship for season number 2. If you're interested, send those requests to info.musicdreamsusa@gmail.com. It's your friend Russell K coming to you live from our Myrtle Beach studios. And Biker Bay Barber and Company. If I don't mention her, she's like right next door in our office, and she'll let me know I didn't mention her name on the show. So Biker Bay Barber and Company, you've now been mentioned. All right. So without any further delay, let's welcome our special guest. J.M. Shaw is in the house. How are you? And good afternoon.
I am doing well, and thank you so much for having me.
I know we actually had you scheduled a few times, and we just weren't able to make that happen. So I'm so glad that we finally had the opportunity to get you on the show. You got a very interesting story, and your
Mhm.
books are very interesting as well as your characters. So let's start off the show this afternoon. And for people watching now, we'll be watching later. Can you maybe share with our audience how you got into becoming such a famous author, and what are some of the highlights of your career, and what are some of the best highlights that you've gotten so far?
Well, I started writing. I was a kid, and I spent a lot of time people watching. I was very introverted, didn't really understand, how to communicate with people. So I started watching, but that only showed me what people didn't really show me what they were thinking. So I started creating stories with characters where I could dive inside their head and kind of live vicariously through them and understand that connection. And if I was feeling sad or having emotional feelings, I didn't really have a lot of people I could talk to, so I would put my characters in situations where they felt that way and then live through them. As time went on, it started as that need for an outlet kind of turned into a passion, a hobby. But the turning point, because I was too shy, I didn't share my stuff. 2019 was the turning point in my life. That was the year my oldest son was diagnosed with autism and ADHD. And then I saw all the things that we were looking at. I was like, those are red flags, because I've done that my whole life. And then 3 months after he received his diagnosis, I went through my own assessment, and I was also diagnosed with autism and ADHD. And I started to think, well, maybe writing was my special interest. So I got brave and I took the manuscript for my first novel that I have published now, and I sent it to an editor, and the worst they can say is it sucks. And they came back and they said, this doesn't suck, you should publish. So 2 years later I did, and now I have 4 books in my series published. I'm working on my 5th.
Wow. So how do you deal with the few setbacks that you have right now? How do you deal with that? And does that become a factor is when you are writing like new books or something like that?
Burnout is a real thing. I can hyper focus like nobody's business. And I will sit down at like 8 o'clock in the morning as soon as the kids leave for school, and I won't get up until supper time. And I will sit there and just hyper focus and pour myself into my stories and forget the world exists. So I have to set timers for myself. I also have mild dyslexia, so I miss words, and I have to have my computer read it back to me. When I was a kid, I didn't have computers. I was in that age before computers, so I used to read with a bookmark, and I take my bookmark and I bring it down, and so I wouldn't get lost at the end of the line, and then I bring it down to the next line and the next line. I had a teacher that took my bookmark away, said that's not how you read. So I used my finger because she can't take that away.
Well, she better not, because you get in trouble.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: are there any authors there are here today, and maybe not, that maybe inspired you to maybe think about, hey, you know what, I'm good at this, and I want to turn this into a career? Is there anyone out there that you look up to?
I had a teacher who was really interested to see some of my short stories. They really told me that I should kind of embrace that. My mom was also an English major, so she did a lot of writing. When I was growing up, at the time that I started writing, my mom was going through college and university. She was going through for her English degree. And we used to drive out to my grandparents' farm every weekend, so 2 hour, 2.5 hour drive or so. I have
Hmm.
four brothers. They all had to sit in the back, but because I was oldest and I could read my mom's college books, I get to sit in the front and read to her.
Oh,
So I
lucky
was reading
you.
things like, yeah, like Emily Bronte, Thomas Hardy, the all the Brontes really. Lawrence, Margaret Atwood. I read a lot of hers stuff. Lots and lots of Shakespeare. Those are the kind of things that I grew up with.
Awesome. I mean, myself and a lot of our listeners too are very curious about the character Callum Walker. Tell us how you came up with that name. How did you create that character, and how is the series doing right now for you? Are you getting some really good feedback on it?
So the name started. I'll start with the name Callum Walker. Callum was on my list of baby names. I have two sons. My husband didn't necessarily like that name, so we didn't go with that name. But I really liked that name, and I wanted to use it. And Walker as a last name just made sense because he's going on a journey. So it's Callum Walker. And as for my how he developed, I kind of based him initially on a younger version of Merlin. I loved Merlin and the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur, those kind of tales. So I imagine what would a young Merlin be like if he was born in our day and age and modern time before he became master magician and and then the character kind of evolved from that original inspiration. As for how my series is doing, I've been getting really good reviews, and I go to book signings. I'm finding that people are following me to see where I am for book signings and then coming in specifically to get their books, old and new ones, signed.
Where did the idea of the fantasy world, how did that come about for you?
I was just kind of inspired. Like, there's a lot of things that we don't know, and I'm a very what if person. So I started with the idea of what if fairy tales were more than stories? They were real. We just didn't know it. And what would that look like? And where would that be? I had a reader point out to me that my entire arc, so with our world, our time, and this coexisting magical realm, but this veil that separates us, we can't cross it because we don't have magic, but these creatures can and do. But Callum, being born with magic, can cross and be on either side. So I had a reader point out to me that the entire arc of my series, him trying to figure out who he is and where he belongs, because he's too human for here, too magic for here, too human for there. It kind of mirrors my own struggles with neurodiversity in a neurotypical world.
Wow, that is interesting. So, I mean, that's really cool. What does your writing look like? I know some authors they have this computer with all these words, and then they kind of like match that with their whatever they're going through. And there's some that just write from their heart, and there's some that it just comes to them naturally. How does it look like for you?
I started out very much a pantser. Didn't really have a plot. I knew where to start, where to end, somewhere in the middle to shift it. As I've gotten deeper into my series, there's a lot of information that I'm trying to keep straight and details from previous novels and then future novels that I've got to align with. So I do a little bit more plotting, just the major points. In each chapter, I say, okay, this is a chapter, this is the major point, and then I let my brain fill in the rest. And sometimes I get into what I call is zone writing, and my imagination will just take over, and I'm along for the ride. And it's great because some days it'll take me somewhere where I'm like, wow, that's amazing. How did I think of that? And other times I will stop and say, that came out of my head. What is wrong with me?
I love it. No, I know of all the different characters you do have because you do have a few. So, which one is more like you, and why?
Oh, goodness. I don't think there's any one character that is specifically like me. I think that every single character that I've written has elements of me.
Oh, just elements, huh?
Mm.
Would you care to elaborate?
Um, you know, that very pragmatic, conservative, that's definitely Callum. That he inherited from me. Jax is more, later on in the series, you meet a character named Jax, and he has more of my sense of humor, my joking, teasing, that kind of, go in there guns blazing and think about it later. There's another character, Agus, for example. He's a elven general or elven commander, and he is very rigid by the rules, and he has a lot of my, I think, OCD type tendencies. And of course, there's a giant wolf that shows up in my stories, and I'm a big dog. I have a dog. I love dogs, so of course I had to have a canine, a monster of the canine variety in there as well. And his very thoughtful and philosophical ideologies is kind of that part of my personality.
So of all the characters, so let's take a step down your create. This is your creative portion of the show. So you're sitting down, you're trying to create a book, and you have all your characters in front of you. Have any of your characters ever thrown you a curveball and it's like, oh no, this is not how I thought it was going to be, and sure enough, it is. So how do you deal with that?
Unfortunately, yes, it has happened. My characters do kind of take on a life of their own. There's one character that I really love, and as I'm writing in my fifth book, I realized that this character isn't going to survive the series, and it's very sad. And I've tried to think of ways around it, but there is no way around it. And so, unfortunately, I just have to go with it.
Wow. Now, another thing I want to ask you. Now, your books. You deal with courage, hope, and also difficult choices. Why are those the themes that are so important to you, and how do you portray those in your books?
Those are very human problems that we deal with. Their, sense of belonging, the importance of family and friends. I also present mental health issues because I think that these are things that my readers and anybody really can kind of empathize with, and that allows people to connect, I think, with my stories. It's also things that I've thought about and I've felt about. And so, as I'm writing my story from my perspective, and my readers are enjoying it and seeing those messages there too.
In your career, I'm sure you've faced many obstacles in your career. How do you overcome them?
Persistence. I just kind of try to keep in mind that, writing and publishing. It's grueling. It's uphill. It's a marathon. It's not a race. I'm not going to see success immediately. I'm not aiming for success. I'm sharing. But if I'm continuing to tell the world I exist, and if I continue to do the right things, eventually I will see success, whether I'm aiming for it or not.
What's the biggest challenge that you've faced?
Starting out, I'm not a marketer. I had no idea what it meant. The word itself, marketing, is terrifying. So the first thing I did was I changed that word. I don't like that word. I say instead, showing the world I exist. And it puts me in the right frame of mind. I've had creative ways of dealing with many problems, so that was just one of them. When it came to my dyslexia, because I wasn't diagnosed till later after my autism and ADHD diagnosis, it was confirmed I have mild dyslexia, and it made sense. And then I'm like, okay, well, what can I do about it? I can, have my computer read it to me, those kind of things.
Up to this point in your career, what's been one of the most proudest moments you've ever had so far?
I think it was recently. My son, who is 11 going on 12, and he came up to me. He says, "Mom, I want to read your series." And I was like, "Okay, well, my books are on the shelf. You know where to grab them." And he'd always kind of, from the age of 8 onward, he'd grab my books every now and then and just try and find the adventure action parts and stuff. But he actually wanted to read the entire thing, so he started reading book 1, and and then he read book 2 and book 3 and then book 4, and then he's asking me, "Mom, can I get some sneak peeks into book 5?"
Oh,
Yeah.
how cool is that? That is so cool. Now you got the family involved in being a part of your amazing career.
Yes.
And don't get better than
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I
that.
mean, who doesn't want their kids reading, right?
I mean, my personal opinion is reading is very important.
Hmm.
You know, it's healthy for you to read books. You know, it kind of like eases the mind and gives you ideas of maybe stuff you wouldn't have thought about.
Yeah. I call it
And that's why I love
brain
doing these with
candy.
all Mickey's yeah, yeah. And Mickey with Creative Edge is give me a lot of brain candy. So yeah, speaking of Mickey and Creative Edge,
Yes.
how did you guys meet? And how what has he done for your career?
Okay, so I was going to a convention in Alberta. It's called the When Words Collide convention. They hold it every year, and it was in Calgary. And I went to not the shows so much, but I went to the vendor area where they had all the authors with their tables and the publishers and all that kind of stuff. And I went there and I was talking to one author after I'd gone around the circle, and I come back and I was talking to one author, and I told her, I said, there's only so far that I can go. I mean, how do I tell the world I exist? How can I go that step farther? And she said, well, check out my publicist. His name is Mickey Mickelson. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a try because, word of mouth is a great, you know, selling point kind of thing, right? Obviously, somebody has used them. And so I sat down and I talked with Mickey and to find out what does a publicist actually do. And I realized, like that was basically explained to me, that a publicist helps you to get your name heard, helps you to be heard. And that was exactly what I needed. So I started working with Mickey, and I've been able to share my story, share my journey with through the last almost 2 years now, doing many podcasts, doing interview and articles, and he's helped me with things that I didn't understand about the publishing industry and getting my books into some stores and libraries. And then we're just continuing on.
That's awesome. Yeah. Mickey's a great guy. I mean, we just partnered with him not too long ago, and it's been a fun ride with him. And, he's such a good, caring guy, and, he cares about his clients, and he always wants to take good care of them. So, yeah,
Yes,
I'm glad you guys hooked up. He's a great guy, and the company is amazing. Creative Edge. I mean, they're definitely creative, and they're definitely on the edge. So that's cool.
absolutely.
Um, what does your so you're sitting down right now, and what does your typical writing day look like?
Well, summer right now, so my kids are home, so I'm not doing a whole lot of writing. But when my kids are at school, I will send them out the door, rush around, do my chores, sit down with my computer and my hot cup of coffee and my dog curled up beside me, and I will just write. And it never fails. Somebody's phone calling me or somebody's knocking at the door. It never fails. But I will usually sit down for a couple hours, write until my dog starts whining, and then get up, go move around, have some lunch, take a walk, come back, and write again.
Do you actually outline everything you write, or do you just like let the story take you wherever it goes?
I try to let the story take me wherever it goes, wherever it wants to go. I do have to kind of record those main points. So as long as I meet those, then I'm okay with wherever it goes. Unless my characters go off on a tangent and the rest of the points don't matter. Sometimes I'll let them just to see where it goes, but most of the time I'm reeling them back in because, yeah, it's just not going where I want it to.
Well, when you write books, I mean, even when people are reading those books, I'm sure some of your fans they get goosebumps, reading those books of yours. Has that ever
Well, I
happened to
know
you?
I made an editor get teary eyed once. um,
Oh.
I had to read. I wrote a chapter, and when he sent it back to me, he said, "Oh, great, you made your editor teary eyed. Good job." And I said, "Oh, well, wait till you get to this book," because I was literally bawling my eyes out as I was writing it.
So all the amazing work you've done so far, if you could put all that amazing work into one spot and turn it into either a movie or a TV series, what would you call it? And who would be your characters in either the movie or um, TV?
Um, I'd probably call it Journeys.
Tell me more.
And because it really is a journey, it's a journey of self-discovery. It's a journey of self-acceptance, finding out who you are, finding where you belong. That's pretty much what my series is down to in a nutshell. Uh, and I've always envisioned for my main character, I've always envisioned a young Ewan McGregor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you working on any projects right now?
I'm working on my fifth book, but I'm also working on a side project, which is kind of a future dystopian Robin Hood meets Romeo and Juliet with hints of Hunger Games.
Oh, right on. So let's step aside now and give you an opportunity. I know we talked about a lot of different things right now. Is there anything you'd like to share with our audience who are watching now that will be watching later? What would you like to share with them?
I really wish that I had been brave enough to share my work years sooner. Um, it wasn't until my diagnosis that I found the courage to share my work. And then I was very surprised with how well it's been received. But had I never shared it, I never would have known that. I would have kept the story to myself. It had sat on a hard drive. It never would have been seeing the world. Nobody else would have enjoyed it. So, I would always recommend that share your work. You don't necessarily have to share it with the world, but share it with somebody and somebody who's going to give you an honest opinion about it. Family and friends are probably not the best beta readers just because it's harder for them to be biased because, they have to see you again. But there's a lot of places you can find beta readers who will give you unbiased, honest opinions and be open to changing.
Wow. So what do you hope the readers when they as they read your books and everything, what do you hope is a memory that they're gonna remember you by?
I hope that they remember that however dark things are, there's always light. There's always something that to look forward to. There's always some joy that comes out of things. And just because it's tough doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's not worth it.
So as I mentioned, we got a lot of people watching now, we'll be watching later. How can they get in contact with you and how can they get a hand on those amazing books of yours?
I always say the best place to start is my website at jmshawauthor.com. You can read about my books, there's links to find them online. They're not in every store. I also on the bottom of my website have a link to my social media, my Facebook, Instagram. I also have Goodreads on there so you can see what other people are saying about my books.
Awesome. Now it's time for let's find out more about J.M. Shaw. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Well, if you're not, you are now. All right. Coffee or tea?
Oh, definitely coffee.
Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
A little both.
If you had to
Depends
choose
on
one or the
this.
other, if you
Yeah,
had to
I
choose,
think an early bird in the summer, a late night owl in the winter.
all right. Now, this pertains to your amazing books. Would you like to be in a paperback, hardcover, or in an ebook?
Oh, I'd love to see my books in hardcover, but it's extremely difficult in Canada to get them.
Okay. What is your favorite fantasy creature? Dragons, phoenixes, unicorns, or griffins?
Oh, I would probably have to say unicorns. There's a lot of interesting lore, and nobody really understands it.
I love it. All right. If you could have one magical power, what would it be and why?
I would love to be able to move things with my mind like Jean Grey does in X-Men. Um, then I could clean the house without leaving the couch.
Oh, I like that. I like that. All right. If you could visit any fictional world, where would you go?
Camelot.
Oh, that would I bet that'd be a really cool place.
Yes.
All right. What's one book you've read more than once?
Where the red fern grows, and I cried every time.
So you couldn't get enough crying then, or what?
No, it's something about that book. It's like touching. Anybody who loves animals loves that book, but even if you don't love animals, it's still touching.
What is your favorite snack while you're eating? Or I mean, what's your favorite snack while you're writing and eating?
I'm a sucker for chocolate. Anything chocolate.
Okay. Music while writing or completing some silence.
Not music, but I do like to have the television in the background. I like to watch those time lapse cleaning videos so that I use it as kind of a body double. So if they're working on the screen, I feel like I should be working.
Okay. A beach vacation or a mountain getaway.
Mountains. My heart is in the mountains. I was born in British Columbia, right in the midst of the Rockies.
If you could have dinner with any author, living or deceased, who would it be?
Shakespeare. That man is a
Oh, Shakespeare's
philosophical
the best.
genius.
Yeah. I mean, he's the best of the best. I mean, I don't think. I mean, well, let me ask you. I mean, you're a professional in the business. Is there any author out there right now who's maybe close to Shakespeare?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that he had this different way of thinking. Plus, his writing was like, mwah. We wouldn't understand it now, but back then it was amazing. You
Yeah.
should look up some of his insults. They're hilarious.
I might use those for my morning show then. All right. If your main character had a theme song, what would you think it'd be?
Oh, I don't know the name of it, but it's the yeah,
No, I was singing
that
together.
would be yeah, that would be his theme song because he's constantly getting himself into trouble, and sometimes trouble just follows him, and he's constantly just trying to figure it all out and in a hurry too.
All right, this is a family question. In one word, how would your family describe you?
Busy.
I just thought it'd be a little bit something more interesting there. Other than busy,
No,
anything
I'm
else?
always doing something. I always am busy.
Well, I already know this one. You like dogs, so we're not going to answer this question. I, if you weren't an author, though, what career do you think you'd be doing right now?
I'd probably do something in physics or dig up dinosaur bones. I was an X-ray
Really?
tech in a past life.
How cool would that be? I mean, I can. There's got to be dinosaur bones still in the world. I mean, just you have to go find out where they're at. But how
Oh
cool
yeah,
would that
well
be?
we have the Royal Tyrrell Dinosaur Museum. It's in Drumheller, Alberta, and it's within driving distance. And you can walk through the Badlands there, and they're still digging up bones.
Are they worth any money?
I don't know. I've never found any.
Because you know what? If they are, I'm coming to Alberta.
I'm sure you can get something for them, but they're a little harder to find now because they're picking through it pretty good, but they're still finding stuff. So
All right. Now these are the fast ones. You ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite season?
Summer,
Favorite dessert?
ice cream,
Sweet or salty?
sweet,
Sunrise or sunset?
sunrise.
Favorite movie?
That one's a tough one. Anything with Star Trek in it.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas,
Superpower you'd choose?
moving things with my mind.
Dream travel destination?
Scotland,
One word that describes your writing style?
chaotic,
One word you have readers use to describe your books?
adventurous.
And that concludes our fun Q&A with you. You got 100 on the test there. So congratulations, kudos. So fun to have you on the show. I'm gonna talk to Mickey. I'm gonna have him bring you back for part two. And
Sounds good.
it was so nice to meet you. Before we end our show this afternoon, are there any final thoughts?
I think we covered everything that was in my head. I'll have a
Good.
thought, I'm sure, at 3 in the morning, and then I'll be like messaging you back.
That's
Never
okay.
fails.
Not a problem. Well, again, Miss J.M. Shaw, it's so nice to meet you, and we wish you all the best as you continue your magical, journey as an amazing author. So, thank you for all that you do, and definitely wish you all the best. And you take care of yourself, okay?
Thanks. You
J.M.
too.
Shaw on the Artist Spotlight Show. What a great interview we had. Are you an upcoming artist? Are you an author? Are you looking to get your name out there? Do you have a story? If any above apply to you, send those requests to info.musicdreamsusa@gmail.com. Again, a special thank you to Mickey and Creative Edge each and every week. They supply a lot of their amazing authors, and every one of them has been is so much fun to be with them. J.M. Shaw it certainly did not disappoint. So I must say a special thank you to her for taking time out to be with us here today. Again, our show is being brought to you by Biker Babe Barber and Company, Eagle Street Corporation, Table and Mike Productions, Music Dreams USA Radio Worldwide. We play everything for everyone. And don't forget, season one is here, and we just released our reel. So go to all of our social media outlets and check out that reel. And we're looking for a sponsor for season two. Our show is growing, and it's the point now where we're gonna take our show on the road, and we're gonna need some sponsorship opportunities for that. So if you're interested, info.musicdreamsusa@gmail.com. Until the next time, it's your friend Russell K on Music Dreams USA Radio. Thank you so much for watching now or who will be watching later. Please share the video with your family and friends, or if you know someone who has a story, by all means, feel free to share this video and let them get an idea of what we do and who we're about. Until then, friends, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon.